Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the stream. Once I get my thing fixed, there we go. Okay. Yeah? Yeah? Okay. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's doing okay. Having a good day, a good Thursday. It's almost the weekend. For me, it is the weekend. I'm taking tomorrow off. Well, half of tomorrow off, but complicated. I get the whole day. So basically not yeah. I don't have to work tomorrow is my point. I'm going to be gone. I'm going down to the Cape, which is going to be lovely, and I'm very much looking forward to it. So that's going to be nice. Nice. I am not, however, looking forward to the weather that will be here on Saturday when I'm out there. That's a little disappointing because that's going to be gross by the sounds of it. So my entire, like, we travel Friday, still going to do something. It's only like an hour from here, for where we're going. Do something on tomorrow. And then Saturday, we've got to figure out something because it's going to be rainy all day. It's the one full day we're there because we're traveling on Sunday again. We're doing something else that day as well, probably going to the vineyard. But, like, come on. Fucking... Luckily, I also have Monday off because it is a holiday, at least for some of us here in Massachusetts. I know it's not a holiday for a lot of places, but my institution does, in fact, give it to me as a holiday. So I get Monday off, which is nice. And then next week, I'm also taking Friday off. So I don't know how I'm going to cram 3.5 hours in 3 days. That is going to suck. But, I'll make it work. Figure something out. Is at least like one other week I have to do that, so I'm having quite the day though. It's been busy. It is busy. Not a bad day though. That's good. Not a bad day. So like where do I start with this? So okay, I guess what I had pegged to do today, I had a very important meeting. Very important meeting that I had to go to today around noon. We'll get to that in a minute, but I did what? I'm working on what's called a libguide. It's basically just a customizable web page, easy. The interface is set up to make adding resources for library use is very easy. Doing quick little explainers, you can use it for a lot of things. It's very versatile. It's basically a website builder in almost every other way. It's just a website builder that's geared towards library instruction and support. So there are a lot of features in there that would be a little much. Starry friend, she's often hard to say. How I wish I could make you stay. She knows those they can't remain. Time will bring them round again. I know this song. Right. I'm sitting here like, I know this song. it's fucking Bridget song. Right. Because that's the part that I never let actually play. Because I get annoyed at Jane's voice after the first line. And her very, very in-tune singing. Sorry, that took me a hot minute because I was sitting there being like, what have I done so far that made that happen? So the hopeful rabbit, you're a real one. I'm sorry, I didn't get it at first. That's on me. That's on me. Nicely done. Yeah, I'm working on this lib guide. It's going to be a citation guide basically. Because I work for a music institution, I want it to be focused on music and how to cite music sources and music related sources. Things like musical scores, recordings, videos, other multimedia things that other citation guides tend to not focus on. There is stuff there, there's plenty of stuff there and it talks about it, but you have to kind of dig for it. And at an institution like this, they're not gonna dig. They're just gonna let it go over their heads. They're gonna get it wrong. So I'm gonna make a guide that's kind of geared that way. I was gonna spend the whole day doing this. I got practically nothing done, and it was not my choice by any means. I have this one ex-coworker now from my previous institution. Bless his heart. Does not understand technology at all. He is in his 70s, late 70s at this point, I think. And he just like fundamental misunderstanding of technology. Like does not know the difference between cell service and Wi-Fi, kind of a thing. Like literally doesn't understand. It's internet, it comes wirelessly, that's all he knows. And therefore has plowed through like 20 gigabytes of cell data this week or this month so far. That kind of. I use my phone very heavily, more than anyone else in my family that's on my family plan, and I can track my data usage compared to the rest of my family, and I don't use double digits. You know, like I don't even get to double digits, and this man manages to burn 20 gigabytes of data in less than a month. It's impressive. So he was sending me a bunch of messages, asking a bunch of questions, and I was kind of trying to help him where I could. My boss's boss, the CIO of the organization, was emailing me, asking me about some research questions she had, which I had to throw myself into for a little while. Loads of fun, though, doing that. It was just great. Because, like, nothing makes me feel quite as good of a librarian than being able to find sources that I should not be able to have access to. And I say that kind of loosely. It's not that I was doing anything illegal. It was like, you know, again, we're a music-based institution. A lot of the, oops, I accidentally just closed my second screen. A lot of the resources that we have are geared towards music. So like, you know, when we have these big databases filled with a bunch of journals, they're all music journals, pretty much. And this particular topic is like AI and music, and so it's kind of the intersection of computer science, ethics, and technology. So it's happening more in computer science journals often than or even if it is going to happen in a music journal, it's electronic music journal, which we do have some of, and there was at least one journal article that we did actually have access to, but the other ones, you know, it showed up as a citation, no way to get full text access easily. But I managed to find them through other means. You know, open access, it's available on the author's site, that kind of stuff. And it just makes me feel like anytime that happens, I just feel like I know what I'm doing. I like it is completely affirming to my job in the fact that I know how to conduct myself professionally. Feels nice. Yeah, no. My mother is like internet. She's not internet illiterate by any means. She's not like fully. It's like, you know, if we're talking about it in terms of like language, you know, in the same way we would talk about language, she is conversational, right? She knows her way around the internet to a certain degree. She understands some things, but if she runs into a particular problem, she tends to come to me or my brother, usually my brother these days, thank goodness, because, well, I did not mind being tech support for my family for a while. My brother is literally an IT professional. Please talk to him first. There are things that I don't even know. I just grew up with the internet. Like, yeah. My grandmother is illiterate, however. She kind of just goes with whatever we give her. So, which I thank her for that. I know that this former colleague of mine is kind of in the same boat as my grandmother. Doesn't really care how he gets it, just as long as he gets it. The problem being that I am not his child or grandchild in any way. I am just his coworker. He does not have any grandchildren or children to rely on for this particular thing. So it's kind of like I fill that void, but I can't because I'm not his grandchild or child. Like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I just don't have time. So yeah, the big thing that happened today. A couple of weeks ago, we lost our longtime acquisitions librarian. I don't know if she was actually a librarian. I think technically she was a paraprofessional, so acquisition specialist, I think was her title. person whose job it was to select and buy books, scores, anything that the library was going to hold. She doesn't like me using this term, but she retired. It's basically it. She wasn't retiring in terms of like, I want to stop working. She was basically pulling back from working in a professional atmosphere in order to focus on more personal things, working on her father's memoirs and stuff like that, I guess. So she left, and there were big questions about what was going to happen with her role and her responsibilities, because it was made relatively clear that we didn't have the money to hire someone else for that position. And I was told last week, no, I was told this week, right? This week on like Monday or Tuesday, I don't even remember exactly when. I just get like a meeting just gets added to my calendar for Friday, and it's like, oh, and it's with my boss and the CIO, and I'm kind of like, that's odd. I can't go to it, but it sounds like this is very important. So I, wheeled around the corner to my boss's office, was like, hey, what's going on? He couldn't give me like too much. He had to kind of couch it in generic language, because he's like, I can't talk about it. But we're going to be having one-on-one meetings on Thursday, and then we're going to be doing this big meeting on Friday. And I'm like, that's a phrase. Like, what does that mean? What is the meeting about? Not that I have anxiety brain, but that's a good way to set off any level of anxiety in my head. Kind of figured it was having to do with her position more than anything. I was just kind of like girding my loins to the idea that I was going to get a pile of new responsibilities along with everybody else in the library without any extra pay, which I don't want to deal with. My job is hard enough as it is. Meeting happened today, the one-on-one meeting at least, with the CIO and my boss, and found out that it is indeed shuffling around some of the responsibilities, but not in the way that I thought. It's more that there's going to be a complete structural reorganization. And my job is not changing really, because my job, me being hired, was the beginning of that structural reorganization. This is something that I guess has been going on for a while. I remember seeing the document when it was brought up, and when things were being brought up as like, this is what's going to happen. I was like, oh, that makes a ton of sense, actually. Okay. Like it was not a surprise, really. It was just like, no, maybe a surprise, but it is a surprise, but it also was expected. I guess. In the same way that your birthday's coming up and someone's going to throw you a surprise party and you're like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen. So that's good. I'm mostly not much is changing for me. I did find out that I'm probably going to be getting a small salary increase. I'm hoping for like 3 to 5%. Just to help cover inflation would be great. Please, thank you. Getting this job was like, woo, I get more money, and then crazy inflation happened, and I'm like, there goes that money. So yeah, yeah, not much is changing. Just some of my colleagues are getting their jobs shuffled around. We are actually going to be hiring someone new. I'm moving a different office is kind of the biggest change that's happening for me. I'm getting a different office. It's much bigger. I don't know what to do with all that space. Like, my office was large enough as it was. I felt like it was sometimes empty, and now I'm going to have an even bigger one. Like, please don't know. So I'm not sure what to do about that. But it's a better location, and I need to be in a better location where people can actually find me, because my job is to interface with the public, and right now I'm kind of like hidden on the second floor in the back. People find me when they get lost, and I have to tell them where to go, where they're actually trying to go, instead of finding me because they're actually hoping to talk to someone. Where I'm going to be makes a lot more sense. I'm also really hopeful that what I was picking up on when they were saying that they reevaluated all the jobs in the library and reevaluated salaries with it is that my colleagues are getting raises, because I was already somewhat uncomfortable finding out that I was one of the highest paid members of the library. And I'm like, there are people who should be paid more than me. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm happy with my salary enough. I do wish it were more. I think it should be more. But given circumstances, I'm happy for it. Happy with it anyway. But I've also only been here for like 8-9 months. And some people who were apparently making less than me have been there for years and should be making more. So I'm very much hopeful that their salaries were adjusted properly. So yeah, today was crazy. It's like all of that, and then like I had another meeting with my boss, who's now the library director. That's the big change. That's another big change, is that my boss is now the library director instead of the head of public services. So good for him. We had a one-on-one meeting because we were going to talk about my goals for the next year. I've been working on this for a little while because the goals that were set for my position for this year are ambiguous and very difficult to define, and therefore impossible to achieve, because they were basically just my position description, like, you know, liaise with faculty and, you know, support course instruction, and like, that will never end. If that ends, my job is over and you can fire me. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, it's like saying a goal for a janitorial staff would be like, clean the bathroom, and it's like, yeah, I do that all the fucking time. Like, that is either a short-term goal in which yes, I will clean the bathroom today, or it is a long-term goal in which it is keep the bathroom clean on a perpetual basis. It's what you hired me to do. I am a research and instruction librarian at a music conservatory. That is my job. It is my job, it is my career, it is my life in a lot of ways, which is what I've learned over the last week, that I've thrown myself into this for quite some time. Because I got my second master's degree just last year in January 2022. That took up a large chunk of my life because I was also working full-time while I was getting my degree, so I had like no social life whatsoever, and that is coming to bite me in the ass this week. But yeah, that's my job. It's what I do. It's what I do. Very dedicated with a lot of student loan debt. Nothing about that. I have 3 degrees and I make less than my brother, who has half a degree. I won't say it's half a degree. An associate's is still a degree, but he has an associate's and I have a bachelor's and 2 master's degrees. And he makes more than I do. I try not to think about that sometimes. I try not to think about it. Oh well. I'm happy. That's the important part. I found a job directly related to what I want to do, which is not something that everyone gets to say. And even if within the field of librarianship, academic librarianship, and even here in Boston, my salary is kind of on the lower end, it's workable, and I get some time doing work that I truly love in every possible way. So, like, this is literally a dream job in a lot of aspects. I think there might be like one other place that I would consider to be more of a dream job than this. One other place, and that's it. Other than that, this is it. So I'm quite content there. Don't get me wrong. Just Boston's so fucking expensive. I make 62 a year, and 62 here in Boston is like lower middle class, and only barely. I share a house with essentially a 2-bedroom apartment. It can be expanded into more than that, but more or less a 2-bedroom apartment with 2 other people. And we split the rent, and we have very low rent compared to other places around us, purely because I've already been here. Like, these roommates of mine moved in just a few months ago. I've been living here for 2 years, and when I first moved in, rents were low because it was like we hit it right before the pandemic pendulum swung back up, the rent started rising again. So, and I locked in a 2-year lease at that rate. And then I think the landlords just like me now. So that sounds excellent. Honestly, I hope that goes really well for you. I'm crossing my fingers for you. I hope that goes great. That is an amazing goal to have. That's awesome. I could never write that long. I can write academic stuff that's like book length, I think. I actually have a chapter getting published this fall sometime. I think November is the target date right now, and I'm very excited about that because then that kind of officially pegs me as a published author, which is kind of cool. I could put it, I don't know what I can do with that, but it just makes me feel good. Certainly never thought when I graduated college that I would have written anything that people would read. But I have since found out, for instance, that like my master's thesis is regularly downloaded and referenced at this point. Like it's literally been cited in other people's works. It's cited in other people's student works. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it's being directly pulled for professional level research, but like even then, I'm just happy that people are reading it. Exactly. I get that. Now, there doesn't necessarily have to be a dream job. There can be, just having the life you want to live and having a job that supports that. That is perfectly valid. In some ways, I was kind of struggling with that myself when I was considering what to do about my career, especially when the pandemic hit and I was still like just starting grad school. I was having some like crisis of like career crisis of like I think it was 2020, and it was when I was out in the Cape, and I remember looking at real estate listings because I decided to hurt myself and saw that like a 1-bedroom in the town that I was in, this little gay seaside resort, was like $750,000, just a 1-bedroom on like the 3rd floor, walk up, like not a great, no parking, and call it a bedroom is a little disingenuous to pour 1-bedrooms, like actual bedrooms, because it was basically like a closet with a bed in it. So I was like, I should just quit what I'm trying to do and just like do something that makes a shitload of money and make that finance the life I want to have, because I don't know that this is doing it, but like, no, I'm happy. I'm happy where I am. 50 manuscripts. That's amazing. That's awesome. What do you generally write? Like, what genre do you kind of gravitate towards? I know I have a very, very particular like niche of always sticking with murder mysteries. I love mysteries. I think the genre is for some reason called cozy mysteries now. I don't really think there's anything necessarily cozy about it, because whatever, but period mysteries tend to be my favorites, because I do like that intersection of like attention, like an author's attention to historical period detail and navigating very particular social landscapes while also solving a murder. Like, there's this one series that I'm obsessed with right now. I'm like eagerly waiting every book that comes out, called the Rosalind Thorne series. It's basically like what if Jane Austen wrote murder mysteries, because it is set in the early 1800s in London, mostly London. There's a book that actually takes you outside of London, but it's a woman who is essentially trying to hold her head up above water, while her father has kind of disgraced the family, run off with all the money, and left her, with no way to support herself, but still connected to the haute ton. The English aristocrats and upper classes. She's still an aristocrat in her own right, and so she's trying to like tread water and keep her head above water while also being. And the way she does that is generally by like helping plan events and being a useful woman, is, I think, A Useful Woman is literally the first novel title. She is, a useful woman in the fact that she is efficient at procuring things for people, whatever they need, and, getting that done for the upper crust. And she eventually ends up kind of basically becoming a lady detective, which is incidentally both unseemly for a woman of her position, but also incredibly in demand from the Haute Tone, because they're looking for someone who knows them the way that they know themselves, someone of their ilk, so to speak, instead of the Bow Street regulars, which, the police force at this time in London is loosely affiliated with the law, let's say. It was literally private for hire security, basically. They were somehow provided by the city and the government, but also, you had to pay them to have them investigate something in your house or something like that. If someone was stole from you, you have to pay them to come to you and investigate. So weird. Fantasy romance, fantasy sci-fi, mystery erotic. Interesting. Sense of mysteries. Yeah. Thinking caps. I love that. That's that's perfect. That is definitely right where I like to be. I am constantly raging on about how much I can't stand Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, for instance, but I love Agatha Christie. And the big difference that I always point out with them is Agatha Christie actually engages the mind of her readers to some degree. Brain having a moment. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, when he writes Sherlock Holmes, for instance, and he writes what Sherlock Holmes is doing and what he's... I will say he is brilliant for allowing himself an outlet for his own lack of planning and for, shock value, because he writes everything from the perspective of John Watson. John Watson is an idiot, and therefore we only see an idiot's perspective of what Sherlock Holmes is doing. And so when Sherlock Holmes in the penultimate chapter, when he's revealing, this, what happened with the parlor scene, is the window was open, so I knew that this was the case. We're all like, what the fuck? The window was open? And John himself, Watson, is like, the window was open? Oh God, I didn't notice that. And because he didn't notice it, he didn't write it down. And because he didn't write it down, the audience, us, don't know that it was open. We only know that it was open because Sherlock told us after the fact. If you go back to that chapter and you look at the scene being described, the window being open is not usually actually presented as being open. They might not even mention the window. That is Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. It is a way to write mysteries, but it is generally a way that I don't like, because it keeps you, the reader, in the dark. There's no way for you to intellectually engage with it other than consuming the content that's fed to you. Whereas Agatha Christie, you are often seeing things through the eyes of a third-person omniscience, sometimes someone who's quite observant, but doesn't piece things together in the same ways that her detectives do, right? So, you'll be seeing it through the eyes of Hastings, for instance, with Poirot. And Hastings, bless his heart, is also an idiot, but he is an observant idiot. And he is an observant idiot that Poirot is trying to teach to be more observant and teach his methods. Use the little gray cells all the time. That's what he keeps saying, right? So when Hastings describes a scene, he is describing it in full detail. He is telling you everything that's there. He doesn't tell you what's important, because that's what Poirot is doing. He just tells you everything that's there. And so what you can then do as the observer, as the audience, you can then make the determination of what you think is important. And as the story goes along, you can try and follow the deductions that Poirot is trying to make. Poirot does not tip his hand until the last moment, even to Hastings. But once he does, if he says in the parlor scene that the window was open and that's how he knew that this person was the killer, you can flip back to that chapter and you will see that Agatha Christie, through the eyes of Hastings, wrote that the window was open. It was just buried with a bunch of other things. You just have to notice it. And I love that. I love that style. Agatha Christie is by far my favorite writer, easily. I know she's got problems, don't get me wrong, but listen, everyone's got problems, and I'm just gonna go with this one, okay? Like, I absolutely love her books. And Then There Were None is maybe one of my favorites. It's just, and Then There Were None is actually terribly interesting in terms of Agatha Christie's own, because it's just her own works. And Then There Were None is like, it's like Agatha Christie writes a thriller, right? So there is the mystery element, but like it's also this creeping sense of dread and doom that slowly engulfs everything. We actually played the And Then There Were None game on here. It was trash. It is trash. I love it, but it's trash. But what I can recommend, I believe it was Amazon that produced an adaptation of And Then There Were None with BBC. Is that? Oh, I don't know if it's with the BBC. You gonna show me the rest of it? Here we go. Yeah. Fantastic, amazing cast. Like, Aidan Turner and Charles Dance. It's just a two-part. It's like 2 episodes, basically, right? For some reason, I like that they say season 1, season 2. 2 episodes, each one's 90 minutes long, so it's like a miniature movie each time. Absolutely excellent adaptation because it actually gets the sense of dread and despair that everyone in the island starts to feel, and the paranoia that starts to set in as each one of them is slowly killed off, and the only people there on the island are themselves and each other. Like, they slowly come to realize that, yes, one of these other perfectly well-adjusted Brits that are standing around us, they are slowly killing off the others, and we don't know who it is, and we don't know who will be next. But we have to find out. Like, it's so delicious. They do such a good job of it. Oh my god. Yeah, that game is awful and wonderful. I use it constantly when I need to describe to someone what the idea of moon logic is. I admit I didn't play a ton of point-and-click games when I was younger, and certainly not in the 90s when it was their heyday. It's part of the reason that this channel is still going at this point, because I have so many point-and-click games to play. And Then There Were None is probably one of the ones that I can point to most easily to talk about moon logic, and the fact that in order to get to a hidden part of the island, you had to notice that there were goats next to a bramble that was blocking your path, and you had to go back to the apple orchard, get fermented apples, get a glass from the lounge specifically. You couldn't get a glass from the dining room or the kitchen. You had to get a glass from the lounge, and you had to put the glass under the apple press and then press the fermented apples into the glass, take the glass with essentially apple cider back to the brambles, pour it on the brambles, and then the goats would eat the brambles so you could go through. It's like, what the fuck? How did we get here? I don't understand the logic. Because like yeah, okay, like each step you can make some kind of logic for it to some degree. Like, goats like apples, okay, apple cider makes things taste like apples, okay, bramble in way, goats eat brambles. I'm like, yeah, okay. Pour apple cider on brambles to make them taste like apples so goats eat brambles. What? Like, just the connection of things that you are supposed to somehow come up with on your own. Like, what the fuck? God, that game's so weird. I mean, all of those Agatha Christie games are pretty awful in their own special way. I think my personal favorite is still my personal favorite of those 3 is definitely Evil Under the Sun, because like And then there were none, changed the ending and changed, each one of them changed the ending to some degree. And then there were none changed it to the point where it like stopped making some sense and got really fucking weird. And there was like logic that just didn't make any fucking sense, right? And it just catches you off guard, but it's not like terribly interesting ending either, right? Orient Express, I appreciate the way that they didn't have you play Poirot. That was a smart move, adding in another character that you play as while Poirot is sick in bed or whatever, right? Because he twisted his ankle and he's a fragile gay, you know. You know, that was actually smart, because, you know, the idea that you play as Poirot and you get something wrong, Poirot doesn't make mistakes, so, you know, you're kind of, if you are playing him that way, then you are playing him wrong. You can't do that. But people are going to make mistakes, because that's kind of the point of point and clicks. You make mistakes until you figure it out. So I appreciate that they added another character. That was actually a smart move. A lot of Orient Express is very, very faithful to the original, probably because they know that they could not possibly mess with it, to the point where the ending itself, the original ending, the one that you just want to stop at, is intact, right? It's the whole jury of 12 kind of a thing. Got it. Cool. Okay. Moving on. The additions that they made, though, at the end there, like, oh, by the way, this decades-old murder that is the reason you're all here in the first place didn't actually kill her. She's still alive. We smuggled her on the train. It's what's-his-face with his fake daughter that's not actually his daughter. And like, that went off the rails is what it is. That went off the rails and got fucking weird in, like, again, a not good way, but it was off the rails in a not good way. And then Evil Under the Sun. Evil Under the Sun is still bad. Not gonna pretend otherwise. I like that they let you play as Poirot, but you play as Poirot in like a D&D table, like it's Poirot and Hastings sitting in Poirot's apartments during, you know, the Blitz in London in the 40s or the 30s, and off the rails. Lol. Did not see that joke coming. That's great. That's great. You know, it's Poirot and Hastings sitting in Poirot's apartment, and Poirot is running Hastings through this case like it's a D&D game, like it's tabletop RPG, and Hastings is playing Poirot in this TTRPG, which is fucking hilarious and brilliant at the same time. And so you can make mistakes, and Poirot's disembodied voice will yell at you, being like, "That is not what I did." It's a bizarre game. And it keeps the ending intact again. It keeps all of the timings and everything perfectly intact, which is how Agatha Christie works. You know, the only person who's ever actually modified an Agatha Christie story successfully, in my opinion, is Agatha Christie herself. She did that quite frequently. When she adapted her novels onto stage or anything like that, she actually had a hand in changing the ending in a way that makes sense to the audience, and keeps that sense of, I can figure this out on my own, intact. When someone else tries to do it, they tend to lose the plot. They try to make it an easier fix, and this was... It's good that these last two, they stuck to it instead of trying to change who the actual killer was, like in the first one, because it's too complicated and too convoluted at that point. Loses a sense of believability. Where Evil Under the Sun went wrong, quote unquote, you know, where they really changed things and also went just absolutely bonkers, they did it in such a ridiculous, over-the-top way that it is just camp. It's just camp at that point, because they make the freaking hotel manager a Nazi. And it's a major plot point that there's a German U-boat off the frickin' coast, and you kill the manager by making her send the shoot here signal, and the U-boat blows up the tower with the manager in it, and then just disappears into waves. And like, everyone is just happy with this. Everyone's just like, and we did the case. Ah, like, the war hasn't started yet. And you just had a German military, like a German naval craft, fire on British soil. Like, this is an attack. This is legitimately an attack. What the fuck? Oh, like, yeah, absolutely fucking bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Like, it literally just makes like a whole, like, if you sit and think about it for 2 seconds, it makes a whole separate timeline where, because of Poirot and this little case that he took in the seaside town of England, because of Poirot, World War II started early. Like, it's a lot. It's a lot. I fucking love it. You know, but then again, let's be honest, Nancy Drew is not immune to these kinds of problems. We just tend to gloss over them a little bit more because Nancy Drew is more near and dear to our hearts in a lot of ways. It's a longer running series with more things in it. And I know I went on this long tangent last stream about, specifically about Curse of Blackmoor Manor, and how there were a lot of like immersion breaking things, some of which are immersion breaking things for me and myself. I understand that this is some level of niche knowledge that I have far too much knowledge about how the British nobility works and how it doesn't make sense to have certain things in the game that they have, like having each member of the family have their own crest that is not related to anyone else's. Literally no sense. How multiple times the title and lands should have not passed down and would have died because there was no heir to take them, or the heir, you know, the lineage that's shown in the lineage chart doesn't make any fucking sense because it shouldn't have gone that way, kind of a deal. Multiple times. You know, just the big one for me is just, I know again that this was a space budget kind of a thing, like a data budget. They couldn't make the game too large, so they're not going to have servant characters, and they need to find a diegetic way to explain why they can't have servant characters. And they're going to make it that the Penvillans are stubbornly self-dependent and don't need servants. But they're also struggling, like, because I think that it was during that stream even that, like, Hugh mentions that Mrs. Drake wanted some kind of wanted a book written about the Penvillans because it was a sense of social embarrassment that no one had written a book yet about the Penvillan family. And it's like, that's a sense of social embarrassment, not the fact that you are apparently and very obviously actually quite wealthy still. Whatever ancestral lands and wealth you had from all these generations ago, you still have managed to get through World War I with that intact. That's impressive. The nobility is structured, the current nobility is structured around the idea that they want to live like they did before World War I, where they had a large team of servants that they paid, you know, serving wages, sure, but they lived there. Like, they didn't have their own lives. Their lives were literally in service to the family. You're gonna get away from that? Like, diegetically, it just doesn't make sense. Again, this is inside baseball. I know. I'm silly. Anyway, they did have Ned call it out. Yeah, and that was like, it's like, why is it that everyone gets one, and, you know, instead of one for the whole family? And Nancy says, you know, it is kind of weird. And I'm like, kind of. It's like reality breaking weird. Like, who are they registering those with? Because it's actually registered, like, the coat of arms are registered. There's actually a registry of them. You can't just make a coat of arms. I mean, for a while you could, and that's kind of just how coat of arms came to be. But like 1700s, 1800s, it became standardized. You had to have a registry, and you could not have one unless you were created in a peerage, right? And it's also, this is the thing that I really just am personally bothered about. It's never made clear what peerage this is. Is it a barony? Is it, you know, a duchy? You know, earldom? What is it? What is it? I'm spelling Penvillin wrong. There we go. It's like, it just says Hugh Penvillin is the heir to Blackmoor Manor. Okay. Like, what's his title? Penvillin family. Just no title. Yeah, nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it's possible that he might not have a title and the family might just have a shitload of... It's just, that doesn't make any sense. You wouldn't have existed as a family with a single line, which again, it is broken several times. You wouldn't have a family broken... you wouldn't have a family line dating all the way back to William the Conqueror without having lands and titles that would pass, right? Like, wouldn't make sense. So, I'm gonna not get on that soapbox again. Yeah, the governess, exactly, right. She's annoying. She's this weird character that just like shows up every once in a while. And in the weirdest ways. Anyway, we're gonna play. We are going to actually play, trust me. We were getting there. It's just, you know. Oh, needed that drink. Okay. We left off having just found this alchemy lab that we're going to explore now. Because what the fuck is all this?
You are one big drink of water, aren't you?
It's a tall drink of water, Nancy. You call them a tall drink of water when you're attracted to a very handsome person. It's a tall drink of... It's tall. That chair looks like it's seen better days. Blackmoor Manor has remained largely intact all these years. Would that I could lay claim to my birthright and live here openly, but Lydia tells me that my grandmother's name still stirs fear and hatred in the hearts of nearby villagers and counsels discretion. Perhaps Philippe. Blah 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 blah. That is us. Ooh, hello. Trying to people. Alright. Not seeing anything terribly different other than the well lock that's over there. Okay, here we go. Welcome, dear initiate. Pride of the Penvillin heritage. Here you will face many trials, but persevere, for your reward shall be the knowledge of those who have passed before you and the honor of those to come. You have demonstrated your worthiness by negotiating the moving rooms and mastering the alchemy test which our father Albert created to protect his laboratory. Now you will help protect our heritage by creating yet another test for new initiates to pass. For my part, I have set this tradition in motion with the establishment of the rules of Penvillin inheritance and have enlisted the Bossany family, there it is, to oversee our efforts and discoveries. There are 6 columns in the Great Hall, each hiding a brave knight who will direct the movement of the oil of enlightenment to this forge, in which a key shall be created to reveal the secret of our father Randolph. The secret must be well guarded. Hide the final solution to unlock the secret in your coat of arms and in the silent book. Let my words woven in cloth be the guide to finding the first key to opening the column decorated with Jupiter's mighty bolts. Amicus et Magister. Charles, 1547. Well, we already solved that, so. Lacking my grandfather's wit and wisdom, I can only add to his genius. His tiles are now locked. The key is to be found near a staircase that sings. But the forge cannot work without being tempered by water. If the well is empty, a devious lock hidden in the passages underneath the manor will return it to its watery state. Dear friends, dear Penvillans, I fear my time is soon ended. My efforts to protect those in need, well, that was Thomas 1580, will soon seal my doom. I have constructed a column to represent Mercury, on whose swift wings would that I could escape these trying times. By moving the hands that protect my home with their alarum chimes, my father's work will release the wand. Already done. My return to our ancestral... That was Eleanor. Not reading their names. Ancestral home is welcomed with neither gladness nor the embrace of family, but no force of a misguided man can destroy our tradition. I have endeavored to make our secrets even more firm, to bring the fire to the forge, tame the master guardian gargoyle and his 2 companions with Mercury's wand, but be fleet of foot, time is of the essence. Once you have completed this task, apply the wand to the depository for the forge's fuel. There, oil and fire will mix. That was... I don't remember who came in 1703. His name was C something. What a curiosity, what a fortune, what a dream. To know that these strange riddles and puzzles have endured for so many generations, what an honor to contribute, and how busy I have been to bring the joy of discovery to you, my children's children. My playful companion hides the loving point of Venus's arrow. With this point, you will assist in the ordering of the knights who will block the passage of the oil to the forge. Who block the passage. And how can a forge work without the sweet essence of air to its flames? Seek the curious puzzle in this room to help poor Aeolus capture those unruly winds. How I wish I could have met you. Penny, 1775. So many years have passed since I first stepped into this strange universe, but using my coat of arms and star charts, you will soon discover how to open my moon box and find the special lens hidden within. Use this lens in my telescope to see 5 special muses, select each one in the correct order, and Betty will wage your grandmother's key. With the very same lens, find the secret panel hidden in my room. There you will discover a most intricate puzzle that hides the key to the column of moons. 1826, Brigitte. After discovering countless wonders around the world, what joy it is to find such mysteries at home. My dear grandchild John, on this day, your first birthday, I complete my destiny. A dragon now watches over the manor, and a column is dedicated to Saturn, the god of time. With time, you will discover the passage that hides its key behind a target. Aim well and throw with force, the key shall be yours. It's the slide. How sad that only a few will revel in the secret. Edward, August 1874. It is I who completes the key to guard the last column, so be it. Help my dear amphibious friend cross the conservatory's pond, and the Mars key shall be yours. John Charles Harold Penville. My computer will help you find the Saturn key, be not afraid. I share the sentiments of our dear distant grandmother Penny. I too wish to have known you, my children. Be strong and just in all that you do. Alan. P.S. A great shortcut through Father Albert's moving rooms to open and close the Mars door 2 times without advancing through to the next room. Then turn around and voila, you're home. Well then. Master of the Winds. This is basically just Aeolus had to corral the winds, blah blah blah, get them all back in the thing. Not terribly important. The mythology, at least.
My dear initiate.
Oh, more. Congratulations. She was going to start reading. Congratulations for progressing this far. Your goal may not be in sight, but it is very, very close. I leave this for you because the Athenor can be daunting and not a little discouraging. But bear in mind that to use it, you must first light it. Yeah, no, I said that right. Light it, and to light it, you must give it 4 things. Earth in liquid form, oil, air, water, and fire. Should you require more information, consult the Mutus Liber, something even my grandfather Corbin apparently did with some frequency.
Penelope Penvillin. Wow, this letter was written more than 200 years ago.
I regret that we shall never meet, but you will get a glimpse into my life when you encounter my contribution. I don't know why it's capitalized. To the security of our treasure. Likewise, were I somehow able to project myself into the future, I would learn something about you were I were to come across the obstacle which you will have created. Blackmoor Manor is indeed the sum of the hearts and minds of all who have dwelt here. Welcome, Penelope Penvillin. All right, that's a lot of information in a very short amount of time. What's this? There's laboratory, which my ancestor Albert Pendleton created. I even found some of his notations and performed many of his experiments with those so far, blah, blah, blah. Nothing else? Okay. So if that ritual that puts water or oil in the that drain in the Great Hall is constant, what's happening to all the oil? Ooh. Oh my goodness, sorry. Begun to take note of my clandestine activities, reporting to the constable that they have heard strange noises, seen strange lights when passing the manor at night. I am loath to curtail my experiments, for working in such close proximity to the treasure is a boon to my spirits, but I fear... The Journal of Charles Pendleton. Ah. I still cannot believe that Garrett is gone. Tragedy has caused his mother to shun all light, seeking solace in silence, shadow, but finding it not. His sister, having shared the bright day of his birth, cannot but constantly relive the great day of his passing, so, and I, as father, find my thoughts going to him like many flies to the hearth. What was, what could have been, what came of the pen, blah, 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 blah. Question of who will inherit the throne of England, personally relevant, for I, like Henry, lack a male heir, and there is much at stake, but unlike the king, tradition is at my mercy, not I at its. Nor am I bound by the notion that power can be passed from men to men, only in my years on the bench I have seen far too many dull husbands and far too many. Y'all know what I'm about to say, right? Like, I'm glad that they are addressing the fact that women can directly inherit. But no, tradition is not at your mercy, Charles Pendleton, because it's literally law. And you, unfortunately, are subject to that law. I don't like it. You know, patriarchal primogeniture sucks ass. Equal primogeniture would be the way to go. That's why Dorne is one of my favorite spots in, like, one of my favorite of the Seven Kingdoms in Song of Ice and Fire. But yeah, that's not a thing in England. I like that they address it, but I still not. It's bending history. Solved by contracting the services of one family. The members of this family will be charged with preserving our traditions and teaching them to the firstborn child of the appropriate generation under strict secrecy. It is conceivable that through the centuries, they will know more about our family than do we, Pendletons. By this means, and by this means alone, we'll be persistent and ensure the treasure is never blah blah blah. You hereby decree that an initiate may be male or female, and that the education of said initiate is to begin sooner than the 12th, no sooner than the 12th, blah, blah, blah. Again, don't make the law. I don't, Again, I know this is very inside baseball knowledge, but it's, yeah. Anyway, surely this is one of the most ingenious machines ever created, saving, no doubt, the life of many an innocent man. The fact that it played a part in my grandmother's condemnation and execution is a cruel irony. Whether Mercury will move, door chimes for secret doors, and control for Mercury unlocks the key. I already did that. Honestly, by accident, but we did it.
This looks like some kind of medieval forge.
Okay. That's not what I would call a medieval forge, but...
Some kind of ancient mold. By pulling out different plugs, I can create different patterns in the mold. Looks like a chunk of metal.
Okay. Well, not much else to do at the moment. Nothing's on. And we do not have the requisite thingamabobs.
A keyhole.
What does a key do? It unlocks things, and obviously it's locked.
Whoa. Sounds like the big guy out there just took a step. It's locked.
It's locked. Why? Yeah, I know. Why won't it let me click on any of the other things? Huh. Having a moment. Like, it only lets me click on the middle thing, and it's going to do the same thing every time. Or not, I guess, actually.
Looks like some winds are stronger than others.
I can't take that guy, right? Ah, but that worked, I guess. Come on. You're mine, bitch. Got him in one.
Sounds like air
Not
is
really.
going to the forge.
Okay, we got air. Okay, so off to this side should be...
This reminds me of that picture I saw in the Mutus Liber. I'm supposed to press the button under the blue triangles I want to move, then press the one under the group I want to move them to, until I wind up with a group of just 4 triangles.
Ooh, something just happened to my stream. That's weird. Hold on. This is weird. Hello? Can y'all hear me and see me? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was. That was weird. It literally all happened at the same time too. I'm very lucky that I was looking at my other screen because like it just went. It's very weird. I don't know, sometimes Twitch just hiccups like that, I guess. Just, okay. I mean, we're here. Nothing happened on my end as far as I can tell, so, you know. Wait. It's all right. Nope. Helpful here. Not helpful. Still not helpful. Really? I was still in the winds puzzle when it stopped? Huh. So weird. And it's still telling me it's unstable, but like my bit rate has not changed at all. So as far as I can tell, it should be fine. It's just very, very weird. Very weird. It's not helping me here. I'm having a full moment. I'm having a full moment right now. I just am forgetting how to do this puzzle. I know how to do these puzzles. It's a matter of mixing. Just brain not want to do the puzzle, right? What's happening here? Gives me there we go. I was gonna say, somewhere I will get this right. Boy.
If I open the door now, I'll flood the place.
Oh, should I have not? Pick a direction and go up. Oh, who do I have to talk to? Fuck you, Ned.
Trying to know how things are going there. What's the latest?
This place may look like a staid English manor, but it's really just one big fun house.
Why do you say that?
Because every time I turn around, there's another door that I have to figure out how to open. This one door went to a slide that took me back down to the first floor.
No kidding.
Literally a funhouse.
The last door I found, I discovered this old forge.
We're just talking about it in the middle of the hallway.
The thing you use to heat metal and make swords and stuff?
Right.
So what are you going to do now?
I was gonna say, I do remember opening it at one point, and apparently I just did not think of opening it because I'm silly.
I should probably check it out more thoroughly.
Probably hasn't been used for centuries.
That's the thing. It looks like it has been used recently. I mean, relatively recently. Certainly within the past 50 years or so.
What would someone be using a forge to make in this day and age?
There was also this big keyhole in the lab.
What about a key?
No key.
Well, there you go. Maybe that's what has to be forged.
The key that goes in that keyhole?
That'd be my guess.
I'll talk to you soon.
Just be careful over there.
Why did we have to have this conversation? Just saying. I literally don't know why. It's next to pointless. Hello, Digishell. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Have you seen? The well is filled up again. It's very curious, but quite wonderful.
Do you believe that Blackmoor Manor is haunted?
No, of course not. I've lived here for many, many years, and I can tell you without a doubt that absolutely no ghosts walk these halls. An occasional odd creak here and there, yes, but no ghosts. But I do sometimes wonder if those who have passed away remain with us, lingering on. I miss my brother terribly, and I sometimes wonder if he is in some way still here.
Goodbye.
The pleasure is all mine, child.
Oh, she just needs a hug, honestly.
It's a game based on that children's book John Penbollen wrote.
Suck at this. Well. Nope. What? It changes every time, doesn't it? Does it though? And a friend, very much a friend. She needs a friend. Okay. We're gonna go look at the book again, because I'm missing something. Probably something obvious. Because that's kind of how this game goes for me. Let's see. They hate boats. Tend to hide in the middle of the pond. No. Never mind. Okay.
Please, just take it away.
But how can you expect to feel better if you don't eat properly?
And from now on, just bring me what I ask for.
A healthy digestive system cannot do without roughage, you know.
Yes, Mrs. Drake.
Ah!
Interesting. Looks like some sort of charm. Linda? How are you doing?
I've been hearing things. Music. Very faint. Very brief. Out of nowhere. Going nowhere. Like bells in a faraway church.
Actually,
That was me.
it was me.
You?
It's kind of a long story. You know, no matter how incredible or frightening things may appear, there's almost always a logical, sometimes even simple explanation.
You don't know everything, Nancy Drew. And in my case, you don't know anything at all. I want you to go home. It's for your own good.
If you agree to open this curtain and let me see you,
Two can play this game, darling.
You're hardly in a position to bargain. I'll just call my mother and tell her I don't want you here, and that'll be that. In the meantime, please leave my room and don't bother to come back. There's no mystery here, just fate. I have nothing more to say to you. Nothing.
I hate to tell you, but I'm here because of your mother and your husband. Sorry. In fact, let's give her a call, shall we? And the winner is Loulou.
Hello?
Hi, Mrs. Petrov.
Hi, what's going on?
I'm afraid Linda has stopped talking to me.
What do you mean?
She pretty much told me to get lost.
Oh, dear. Well, she may want you to leave, but I don't. Not until you find out what's happening to her.
Goodbye, Mrs. Petrov.
All right.
Goodbye, Nancy.
Sorry, Linda, you're not my client. You're just the subject of the investigation. There's a difference. All right, let's try this again. Stupid frog. I'm trying going the other way. Oh. There are two maps, basically. Three. Okay, I'm having a full moment here and not sure what the rules are, so we're gonna go ahead to my favorite hint website, UHS Hints, and pull up this part. I don't want the solution, I just want the hint. Seems to be a matter of hit and miss. It's kind of around between turns, rarely staying the same spot twice. They like the middle of the pond and trees best, but that doesn't always apply. You keep jumping until you get to the princess. Okay, so you just fucking... Yep, alright. Just keep trying. Just trial and error. Killing me here. I can get almost all the way to the end. There we go. God, okay. It's like it will work somehow. The fountain just made some weird noise. The frog's gonna spit at me. Close enough. Now, how many keys do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's all the columns. So now we just have to do the weird foil puzzle. Okay, so this is the one where it goes to the middle, I believe. Brain forgetting what goes in his hand. Alright, and that goes to either side. So, oops.
Looks like a piece is missing.
Yes, it is. So, wand. Do that thing. It's not really much of a puzzle, to be honest. It's more just like connect the thingies. Nope, wrong button. There we go. And finally, Monsieur Knight. In theory, that should have done it. That hard. I'll stay put, right? Yeah. I should have done it. Let's see if we can do this at the same time. No. I think there's something else you have to do with that. In that. No. I forgot. I did not hear the oil pour. That's a good point. I was going to say, something happens. What did you do wrong then?
You're gonna need a bigger bowl.
You're going to need a bigger boat. The time has come. Yeah. Brain, move. Ah!
I did something right.
Wrong way. There we go. Fixed!
Pay no attention to the bird behind the curtain.
No attention to the bird behind the curtain. Forgetting what he said about the... So we'll come back to that in a second. I'll go back down. Go. The fact that I don't have this memorized anymore. Absolute travesty. Alright. Where's what's his face? Brave Fire to the Forest. Tame the Master Guardian Gargoyle and his 2 companions with Mercury's wand. Be fleet of foot. Time is of the essence. Well, I need to take a quick little break anyway. This might not be a bad place to do that. Because I have a lot of laundry that needs to be just moved over. It's not going to take me long. I'm definitely having the... Exactly how do I do this part? Stuck.
Pay no attention to the bird behind the curtain.
All right. Gonna be right back. So, quick little break. We'll be back. Okay, we are back. We are back. We're back. Figuring out why this is tangled. Okay. Whew. All right. How to initiate the wand moment with these guys. There's only 3, I thought.
Huh, looks like Nigel forgot his laptop.
Rip. Hmm. 2004? 2005? It was 2004. Yep. 2004. Haha, perfect. Okay, good choice, good choice. I'm not a real big fan of yakisoba, and I'm very much a gluten whore, so I was the best to help make that decision, but I hope it's yummy. I guess I shouldn't say that I don't like yakisoba. It's more just I don't know
I need a bigger boat.
much about it.
I need a bigger boat.
Ooh, Loulou had a bit of a
Winner is Loulou.
brain cramp there.
Hello.
Bye, Bird.
Bob's your uncle.
Bye, bird.
Polly is a stupid bird. Polly is a stupid bird.
Nancy, I'm so afraid. Someone just sent me this horrid message. Look at this.
This house is now mine, so of this be warned. Thou hast angered me and shall soon be gone.
Now look on the other side. That symbol is a rune. Right side up, it means protection like a shield. But there, it's upside down. It means I'm in danger.
I wouldn't take this seriously, Jane. Someone in this house is up to no good, and I'm determined to find out who it is.
Are you really? I mean, none of these weird things started happening until you came to Blackmoor. How do I know it's not you who's behind all this?
I think you can trust me.
I think not. I don't think I can trust anyone right now. I wish I'd never come back to this place. It's old and cold, and I hate it. And I just don't want to be here.
I know you're upset, but please, you have to trust me. I'm on your side.
Why? She doesn't. I don't need the glow sticks anymore.
Get going.
Bye.
Bye. I know, right? Hmm. Okay. gonna take a quick screenshot of my own screen here. Hold on. I guess it helps if I actually do the right thing. Ooh. I know, right? That's what it feels like. Oh, that needs to be zoomed the fuck in. Alright, yeah, I can't see that. Hold on. I gotta make this full screen. And then do this. Did that not work? Why no work? Why no workage? Try this instead. Of course you're not gonna give me the one page I want out of this. There it is. There it is. That's good enough. All right, I can see everything on there. That's all I need. Still haven't figured out how to light the forge, though. So, oops, that was dumb. Aren't there just 3 gargoyles?
What was that? Where'd this come from?
Oh, gasp.
Doom shall come on swift wings to thee who has seen forbidden things.
Someone needs to fix their writing.
This looks like it came from a wolf.
Ooh, you ain't scaring me now, sweetie. In fact, I think by going to sleep at this point, I will trigger the thing that scares me about this game. The one part that does all the time. Not that. I don't remember this. Okay. Huh. Ah! Fuck, yep. That!
Who is that?
Right there. That is the moment that childhood me screamed and ran from the computer. Not even fucking kidding.
I wonder if these are what made those red eyes I saw outside the night I arrived.
Yep. Still gives me chills. It's literally just the fucking cloaked figure thing.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Weird fucking dreams.
Hi.
Have you ever seen these before?
No, what are they?
I was hoping you could tell me. I found them in the hallway.
I've never seen those before in my life.
I should get going.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Linda? Okay, I understand. I'll talk to you later.
It's filled with incredibly moody people. The awkward thing where the only person who will actually talk to you is fucking Mrs. Drake and the parrot. Mrs. Drake is the most sociable person here.
Yes?
Why did you put that charm above Linda's door?
What? I fail to see why that is any of your concern. But if you must know, I was only trying to help Linda. Oh, I am at a loss as to what to do about her. A complete loss. Sometimes extraordinary situations require extraordinary measures. I thought that perhaps a charm would help. Whatever it is that's plaguing that poor thing.
Goodbye.
Good day.
Okay.
This is Paliki.
Hi, this is Nancy Drew. I have another question. You know, about lycanthropy?
I'm listening.
What if someone seems to be growing a lot of hair, like on her hands?
What do you mean by a lot?
I mean a lot.
Well, to tell you the truth, psychosomatic hair growth is extremely unusual. In fact, as far as I know, it's unheard of.
But it's still probably just a matter of mind over matter, or should I say body, right?
Almost certainly. But you might be well advised to keep an eye on her, and please, call me if anything happens.
If anything like what happens?
You'll know, Miss Drew. You'll know.
Thanks.
Ooh. Why is everyone talking like this? Alright, Ned, can you be useful for 2 seconds and give me a hint?
Hello?
Hi, Ned.
Nope.
Hey, what's the latest?
I'll talk to you soon.
Nope.
Later. Bye, Nance.
You'd better. Was that a threat? You're threatening me? You child? Please. Alright. Yeah. If you erase the pips in the column, ready to start the fire. Go to the Master Gardens, its biggest one in the upper hall, enters the west passageway. His wand on his head. Yeah. Didn't I try to... That's what I tried to do. Yeah. Or like... When I pulled the wand out last time, it didn't let me select the gargoyle. Ah! There we go. Hold on. Hello?
This wand probably works through magnets.
Oh, witchcraft. Magnets. Nailed it. That's safe.
Whoa, something tells me I just succeeded in lighting the forge.
That's definitely safe. Don't worry about the smoke. It's fine. Also, now that I lit the forge, wouldn't like there be smoke coming out of there constantly? Like, where is the smoke venting that no one notices? Right? How's this working? Oh shit, wait, no, Oh, without the shortcut, this is true. Yeah, because you can use the boop and go woo! I'm fast. Sonic. Alright. Wait a minute. This is important. I need the other screen. Piece from the Mutus Liber. I am going to just use that instead of trying to go back and forth between the book and everything else, because we have the power of technology and multiple screens, something that was not around in 2004 in common households. Excuse me. Go make a 4x3 grid. Okay. And this is where all of the what's-its come in real handy here. See a tier there. There no other tier? The book is here. Book is a cross. So in the Mutus Liber, there's a 3x4 grid, and it's the same as the 3x4 paddle mold thing. And each section of the grid has a symbol in it that corresponds to someone's what's it called here? Coat of arms. And so you go to the coat of arms, you see on the end of the Latin phrase, which again, not individual, is a symbol that is made up of the pieces that we need to figure out how to manipulate. So that's how. That is how. Rainbow here. I'll see a rainbow. Boop, boop. That. A T, which is that. And that line there is that. Okay. There's a lion, but it's backwards. That's not right. So we are going with the Pegasus, which is just a line vertical. Okay, that is the wrong shape tier. This is the correct shape tier, so... the other side here. I see a star, which means this is that. Solid star, specifically. Something here needs to make sense. Pointy guy, okay. That's that symbol right there. Moving down the line. Oop, that's the library. Down the line, there we go. Parrot, or the mouth in this case. Which is creepy as fuck. The serpent is direct up and down, and the ones we are missing are the down left facing. That doesn't make sense. Did I mess up? And where's what's his faces? Yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, okay. No, we're fine. We're fine. It's fine. Okay. That should be everybody. Now we should be able to do the thing. Let's go do the thing. Actually, let's go quickly talk to Mrs. Drake and see if she knows about these goggle things. Did I already do this?
Yes.
Nope.
Goodbye.
Run along.
Run along. How dismissive of you. I don't mind much backseating at all. That is totally fine. I am not playing these games for the first time by any means. I have mostly just a vague idea of what I'm doing. So feel free. I do not turn away suggestions. Especially for things that I might have missed and are interesting, you know. But we are in endgame, I believe.
The forge is lit. Wow, molten metal.
Wow. Oop, hang, put that back. Nancy just forging a key like it's no big fucking deal.
Kind of key.
I might have done that backwards. We're gonna find out.
It doesn't work.
Yep.
I must have made it wrong.
Backwards.
Might as well melt the old key down and try again.
I'm a smart man. Oop, hang, wait. Okay. Just invert these. Try it again.
There, that looks right.
Well, she's happy with it, so. What's in the secret thing?
It's mine.
Aha!
And not you. Besides, I would have found it before you did if I didn't have to sit there all day learning all that other silly rubbish. What is that?
Looks to me like a meteorite.
A rock? 600 years of secrets and mystery and puzzles, all because of a stupid rock? No way. There must be something under it.
I would not touch that.
Touch it.
And you're gonna fucking die.
It's dark in here. I can't see anything. Get me out of here, please. I'm sorry I was mean to you before. I'm sorry for everything.
Explain.
Do I detect a guilty conscience?
It's my fault Linda's sick. I mean, she's not really sick. I just made her think she is. I left that curse in her room and gave her allergy pills and put her medicine in a moisturizer.
You made her think that she's changing into the beast of Blackmoor, didn't you?
I just wanted to go away. I just wanted to be Daddy and me and Mommy, my real Mommy. Please don't make me talk anymore, Nancy. There's no air in here. I can't breathe.
I've got to figure out a way to get that box off of her fast.
Really, though? Do we have to? I mean, it was a rock that fell from the fucking fucking sky, so
Is a beast of
yeah,
Blackmoor. Jane,
would make sense.
she made poor Linda think she was turning into a monster by putting her uncle's hair restorer in Linda's moisturizer. She also slipped Mrs. Drake's allergy pills into Linda's food so she'd feel woozy all the time. An extremely dangerous thing to do. Needless to say, Jane's father was very upset, especially when he found out Jane had done it because she still wants him and her real mother to get back together. After Jane apologized to Linda and Hugh apologized to both of them, they all resolved to do whatever it takes
Yeah,
to
seriously, right? Nancy's fucking hardcore.
manner. Ever since I told him about all the passageways and gadgetry I discovered, Hugh has become fascinated with his family history. and has asked, no, ordered Ethel to teach him what she's taught Jane. And while he doesn't believe for a second that the meteorite in that old alchemy lab has magical powers, he has encouraged Jane to come up with a puzzle to help ensure its safekeeping, just as initiates have been doing for centuries. Which reminds me, the Pendulans swore me to secrecy when it comes to all their traditions. So don't tell anybody any of this, okay? Nigel suspected something was up when he came to get his laptop and has been hounding me ever since. This is just the kind of stuff he'd love to include in that unauthorized tell-all he's trying to write. If he calls me one more time, I'm telling on him. To Mrs. Drake.
That might actually be a torturous move to do. Here we go. What do we got? Historic of Heavenlands for learning all you could about this odd family. Yeah, because it doesn't make any fucking sense, but okay.
The year is 1930, and everything is on the rise.
Is it?
Unemployment, government breadlines, and organized crime. In the midst of it all, a heroine is born. Armed with only a flashlight, a blue roadster, and a spirited resourcefulness, a 16-year-old detective will go on to inspire hope in the hearts of young girls and kisses upon the lips of evildoers everywhere.
Trying way too hard to do a transatlantic accent, but not getting there. 2005, baby. Like, you don't even really need to do a transatlantic accent to get the kind of vibe that this guy was going for, the whole, like, you know, old-timey announcer voice. Just, you gotta ham it up all the way, though. You can't do that halfway, right? You gotta be like, the year was 1930. Like, and yeah, I guess, you know, I can do the transatlantic accent decently when I do that kind of a thing. I don't even know what's the let me see if I can find the text. Maybe I can do it better than him. No. Oh, wait. Oh shit, it's a Tumblr. Good luck finding a post on a fucking Tumblr blog. It's somewhere hidden on this pile of stuff. Yeah, not there. Come on. This post may have adult content. It's a Nancy Drew blog. What the fuck adult content is on a Nancy Drew blog? That's not it. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Damn. It's from 2018, so trying to find it's gonna be way too hard. Right, Legend of Korra. Very much Legend of Korra. Like, see if I can, let me get out of that. Hold on. And so we can set up our next part anyway. I can do this here on my main computer instead of on my laptop over here, you know. Close this. Close this. Open this. And boop. Get our tier list up. Get this set up. Okay, and then find Blackmoor. Cool. All right. Ah, wait, did I just find it? Yeah. It's another fucking Tumblr blog. I mean, I got a little bit of this, enough of this that I'm probably going to be able to do it. So, yeah. The year is 1930, and everything is on the rise. Unemployment, government bread lines, and organized crime. In the midst of all... Oh, see, I'm not enunciating properly. In the midst of it all, a heroine is born. Like, you know, that's the... Just lean into the bit, is what I guess I'm trying to complain about. You know? Like... See if I can find like one of that weirdo announcer voice. Where did it come from? It's because of Ed Hurley. Yeah, that makes sense. Come on, hello. I'm gonna try and find just like an episode of Legend of Korra. Let's see here. Yeah, this is a good start. The Avatar has gone missing! After President Raiko refused Korra's request to aid the South in the War of the Water Tribes, she headed to the Fire Nation, seeking a new ally against Unalaq. Unbeknownst to her friends, a dark spirit attacked Korra and dragged her into the ocean. She has washed up on a desolate island with no memory of who she is. Ta-da! Again, sorry, I don't know if this is a flex or what. Just saying, it's got a point. There's a point. Let me move over to the the thing here. All I'm saying is that I'm not a voice actor and I can do this, and they can hire voice actors. Well, thank you. That's what I say though. Like it's like anyway. I like doing silly fun accents, and that's I guess why another reason why Curse of Blackmoor Manor bothers me as much as it does, because the accents are just like uncanny valley British, and I'm unfortunately well versed enough in many British accents to be able to tell whether one is not one. Like, let me just try some quotes here from here. That's Nancy Drew Games summarized by one quote each. Curse of Blackmoor Manor. Hi, I'm Ethel and I suck. Slightly paraphrased. That's good. Hi, I'm Ethel and I suck. Paraphrased. I am not seeing a quick thing, but that's fine. IMDb page? Womp. Like, I just need something to read in order to make this work, because this is where my absolute failure of yes and improv is just, it's just gone. I can't open anything on Reddit because Reddit is terrible. I just want to read. I'm gonna like do this thing. Okay, I'm gonna go back and we're gonna go over the quick, like, because this Nancy Drew game summarized by one quote each. I'm interested by this. Secrets can kill. I'm not into pushy girls. Do me a favor, bother someone else. Okay, what's his face? The rhino or the hippopotamus or whatever the fuck his name was. Stay tuned for danger. Words, words, words. You will soon see that I'm a man of action. Fucking Rick. But not Rick. Wait, no. Dwayne. There it is. Message in a haunted mansion. I love gumbo. What's gumbo foo? Is that Amy, I think, that said that? These aren't as funny as I thought they were going to be. Wait a minute. Treasure in a Royal Tower. I don't mean to bother you, Mr. Egan, but my radiator? Fucking truth, though. That cap. Yep. The final scene. Being groovy is no excuse for abandoning basic grammar. I think that's Nancy speaking to Simone, if I remember right. Fucking peak meme. It hasn't shown up as a sticker on this channel yet, but it will. It absolutely will. I promise you. Secret of the Scarlet Hand. I can't remember. I can't remember. Can you not remember? Ghost Talks of Moon Lake. Nancy Drew, you're not dead yet? Truth. Honestly, I don't think that's just Ghost Dogs. I think that's every game. I think that's just Nancy Drew in general. Like, every one of Nancy's friends is surprised that she's not dead. Haunted Carousel. You've probably forgotten everything from that time in your life because it was just too painful for you to remember. Right, that's when Nancy is playing therapist. Because every game that I play, someone's got to be a therapist. Man, by the end of this channel, I will have earned my LICSW. Like, I will have that qualification. Danger on Deception Isle. You know what else I got in my duffel. No, we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that. Nope. Right, that's right. Final scene is fucking Nick Falcone. That's right. Being groovy is not an excuse for abandoning basic grammar. Secret of Shadow Wrench. Oh no, you picked stuff that wasn't rap again. Fuck you, Shorty. Fuck you and every horse you rode in on. Yeah, Curse of Blackmoor Manor. Hi, I'm Ethel and I suck. Slightly paraphrased. See, I wanted more of that. I thought there was gonna be more of that. Now I can't tell you anymore because that's great. That's great. Yeah, some of these are great. Actually, some of these are also great. Yeah, Shorty can fucking die as far as I'm concerned. Fucking dick bag. Okay, alright. I found a couple of quotes on the Nancy Drew wiki. I don't know that it's great, but I'm gonna try to do some of these voices a little bit. Like, Mrs. Drake, you may have the run of the house, but do not break anything. And Mrs. Drake was probably the best one of them. Unfortunately, they don't have any quotes by Hugh on here, and he was the one that annoyed me the most. Because it felt like it was just someone phoning it in. But like, you may have... Ooh, you may have the run of the house, but do not break anything. That's a little much. Hold on. You may have the run of the house, but don't... You may have the run of the house, but do not break anything. And I'll add a little bit of roll in the R, and then you're just good. Anything still doesn't sound right. Anything. Very I don't know that I can do Jane any justice. I have too low of a voice. Hi, you must be Nancy. I'm so glad you're here. That's really lower class all of a sudden. Hi, you must be Nancy. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Jane. Like, wow. Hi, you must be Nancy. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Jane. Okay, yeah, that wasn't the worst. It was just a little weird. Ethel, I mean, I guess. Oh, you startled me. What were you doing in there? It's very, it did get a little Australian, I suppose. Close, but no marshmallow. I don't even know how to... Like, I can probably just read some of this, maybe. I'll read a little bit of the epilogue of Nancy's letter, but as Hugh should have been. You know, the very long, drawn out, just lazy sounding British aristocrat kind of voice. Dear Ned, well, there is a beast of Blackmoor, Jane. She made poor Linda think she was turning into a monster by putting her uncle's hair restorer in Linda's moisturizer. She also slipped Mrs. Drake's allergy pills into Linda's food so she'd feel woozy all the time. An extremely dangerous thing to do. You know, it's just a little The Emu War, I know, right? Isn't it fucking crazy? I saw a TikTok today of, like, it was someone stitching it, so it was their reaction to the original, but it was like someone in Australia going to a beach, beautiful looking beach, the tide, like the wave was going out, and they had like some little thing, and it just had it just had the fucking caption that said beach worms. Okay, and I was not prepared for what happened, because it was like 3 to 4 feet long of just worm that, like, first of all, the way they caught it was by using a fish. Like, the worm tried to eat the fish, and then they just pulled the worm out of the fucking wet sand, and it was like 4 feet long, and the person who was making the stitch was absolutely spot on when they were like, we need to launch Australia into the sun. But the comments were also perfect, because it was like, except that they would survive and come back for revenge, because it's so fucking true. All right, I'm seeing that stream do weird things. Don't you fucking dare. Not in my last moments. All right, we're wrapping this up. All right. But yeah, Australia feels like one of those places that I would kind of love to go visit sometime, but I'm also terrified to set foot on that soil, because I will fucking die. Something will kill me. Like, there's every part of that entire continent is terrifying. Like, every part. Ugh, I'm gonna leave the Australia in my head to be like, it's literally just gonna be like, oh god, Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries. It's just gonna be Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries. That's it. That's Australia to me, okay? That's all we need to know. That and Finding Nemo. That's it. That's it. Anyway, it's time to do our ranking. So this Miss Fisher's Murder Mystery is so fucking good. So fucking good. And like the will they won't they, and like, oh, so good. So good. Also, it didn't change over my scene, so we're gonna try that again. Come on. Sweetie, darling, honey, darling, sweetie. Is this? Oh, I see what happened. I see what's going on. Hold on. There's a small problem on my end. BRB. Boop. There we go. There we go, there we go, there we go. Yes. Yes, Miss Fisher was filmed in Australia. Actually filmed in Melbourne, I believe, which is where it's set as well. Melbourne, whatever. And it was a fully Australian production and Australian everything. It was really, really cool. And actually it's interesting because I was watching another TikTok on Australia where they were talking about how the Australian media has kind of ceded any creativity to Hollywood, which is kind of unfortunate to hear because, you know, yeah, their production value was not as high as what we can produce here in the States because we've got more money to throw at it. But I mean, Miss Fisher did great with what they had. Like, such good stuff. Anywho, so just for those of you who are somewhat new to the channel, hello, Hopeful Rabbit. This is a tier ranking of the soundtracks only. We have a tier ranking for the actual games. This is tier ranking for the soundtracks. So quick little recap, since we are just coming up on our 10th. Next is going to be the 10th Nancy Drew game. Wait, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, I lied. This is the 11th. So we finished the 11th. We just finished the 11th. I'm sorry. I'm fucking brain. It's almost 11. So in our S tier, we have Secret of the in order as well. Secret of the Scarlet Hand, Danger on Deception Island, Secret of Shadow Ranch, Treasure in the Royal Tower. Our A tier is Ghost Dogs and Moon Lake. Our B tier, Stay Tuned for Danger, Haunted Carousel. Our D tier, Secrets Can Kill, Message in a Haunted Mansion. And our F tier, The Final Scene. So we're going to talk about the soundtrack and only the soundtrack of Curse of Blackmoor Manor. And I'm going to be honest. This soundtrack fucking slaps. Like, it is great. It is at least on par in my mind with Danger on Deception Island. I am not sure it comes to the same level as Secret of the Scarlet Hand, because some of the Secret of the Scarlet Hand is absolutely fucking bop. Like, you can dance to it. Danger on Deception Island has that cool jig in it that's so much fun, and it's very atmospheric and everything, but like, Blackmoor Manor has that gorgeous cello piece and the recorders. Like, yeah, the Bridget song is the one part that I don't like. And this is not because the song itself is bad. It is purely because whatever MIDI piano recording they did is not good and not even up to their own quality standards, which is really disappointing. Also, I hate Jane's voice. So the version with her and Ethel singing together, that's why I forgot the second verse that you posted when you first started chatting. And I was just like, what? And just like, right, that song that I never listen to because I walk away because it's annoying. I'm going to put it behind Danger on Deception Island. I don't think I can put it in front of. It's at least on par with, though. It's like, if it's behind, it is only just this much. Very, very little. It is very good. I love that soundtrack. Instant fave. It's got the spooky elements. It's got the fun elements. It's got a very cohesive sound to it, you know? That's rooted very much in what we would think of medieval sound. It's not actually medieval. I know too much about music to know that. It's still very cohesive nonetheless. It is it's medieval cosplay. It's like going to a Ren fair. That's exactly what I expect from this game. So it does a good job. I'm going to go ahead and say we're good on that one. So that was easy. You have to give me a minute, because weird thing about Tier Maker is that it makes a new entry every time. So, and then, because you have to, like, you can't just edit, you have to remix it, and remixing it makes a copy, not. Okay, so this is the actual game ranking, okay? This is the actual game itself. So again, quick recap. Our S tier, we have Secret of the Scarlet Hand. It's my absolute fucking favorite. Danger on Deception Island, it's a close second. Secret of Shadow Ranch actually surprised me this time around, because I always seem to forget about that one, but it was quite enjoyable, actually, to the point where it went up in S tier. A tier is Treasure in the Royal Tower. Has some pitfalls, but an amazing game nonetheless. Ghost Dogs and Moon Lake, same kind of thing. Amazing game. Couple of moments where you just kind of lose it. B tier, Haunted Carousel. Lot of frustration with that game, but still quite enjoyable, but like, you got to push through some parts. Message in a Haunted Mansion. It was trying to be an answered your game, but it wasn't there yet. It was just not finished, underbaked, you know? D tier, Stay Tuned for Danger, where we have like building blocks of an answered your game. It's like, if we're going to keep going with the baking analogy, all of the ingredients are on the counter. That's it. It's not really a full answered your game at that point. Secrets Can Kill, an earnest attempt. That's, I guess, the best way to put it. And then finally, our F tier, our trash tier, is The Final Scene. I really don't know what it is about that game that I can't fucking stand. But I don't like the soundtrack. I don't like the game. So, with that all being said, let's talk about Curse of Blackmoor Manor and everything that goes into it. So first of all, the plot. The plot is a little far-fetched for the same reasons that I've kind of already been over, right? There are parts that don't make sense to me, that don't really follow logic. But it's got a pretty cohesive vision, which I have to appreciate, right? Like, the plot may have some weird parts to it, but they commit to the bit nonetheless. I may have some personal gripes, but they are personal, and I recognize that. They made creative decisions that they stuck to, and they made attempts to explain, right? Again, not satisfactory to me. You can't just wave away the laws of the United Kingdom and the Kingdom of England when you decide that you want to change how your titles, lands, and estate are passed down. It's unfortunately written in law. It's not going to work. But they make a diegetic choice. They make a choice to diegetically explain it. They diegetically explain why they don't have servants. They diegetically explain why everybody has different coat of arms. Like, again, I can't quite accept them as realistic, but that's because I know too much. When I was younger, I did, right? And these are games for kids, ultimately. We have to acknowledge that. So, while I have some issues with the plot, it's still very good, right? Soundtrack, we've already been over. It's already S tier. It's amazing. It's great. I love it. It's got great atmosphere. It does a good job. Gameplay is actually where I think this suffers the most. I will say that out of these games here on the list already, I had to use UHS hints the most for Curse of Blackmoor, or use my own knowledge of having played the game before. My understanding of what happens next is what kind of kept me going. And that's not great. There were just a few too many times where it felt like things weren't working the way I wanted them to, or weren't working the way they should, or a clue that was meant to be given was not given clearly. A lot of the house feels a little bit like it's just one giant puzzle room, so you're kind of like in one of those escape room things. It does leave a little bit to be desired. The puzzles themselves are interesting and good, and I'm glad that they exist. They go beyond a lot of the other puzzles that kind of have become staples of a lot of point and click games and the Nancy games in general. But this one in particular does a really good job of having great diversity. Characters, they have pretty good characters for the most part. I mean, Ethel does suck, but that's also because she only shows up like twice and you only talk to her once. Or no, she shows up 3 times and you only talk to her twice. Because you run into her when you're leaving Jane's room, you run into her when you're leaving the East Hall, and then you see her and Jane doing the weird ritual thing. It is what it is. Ethel's weird. Mrs. Drake, Nigel, and Jane, yeah, are all pretty good characters, with their own motivations, right? Loulou, amazing, perfect. We don't need to talk about her anywhere beyond that. The winner is Loulou, okay? The winner is Loulou. But Linda leaves a lot to be desired. I will say that as the character that she is, just not very much there. Ethel, like I said, sucks, but Ethel also isn't there at all, which kind of makes her a bit of a mystery figure that exists but doesn't really, and therefore feels not even like a red herring, just superfluous, right? Like, ultimately, we did not need to be introduced to Ethel in any actual way. She doesn't give us any information that we don't already find out elsewhere. So her being the faceless tutor would have been perfectly fine, and that means she's a weak character as far as I'm concerned. Hugh is fine, I think. Hugh kind of comes across as wanting to be a doting father and husband, but also so blasé about everything that he ends up not giving a shit. So it feels kind of like there were 2 writers, and one wanted him to be blasé and aloof, and the other one wanted him to be doting. And they just wrote their own parts and mashed together and said, here's the script. because it doesn't feel cohesive in any way. There's no through line. Nigel, unfortunately, has a very minor role. So I don't really like his role very much. He's supposed to kind of fill this like academic that's excited to talk about history, and he fills the role of expository information when you're in the library and you're like looking at the books. You click on them and he tells you like, oh, those books are from this time and it was this member of the family that collected them and they were a lawyer, like they were a judge, so they're all about law, you know, stuff like that. But like, he doesn't really seem too terribly excited to be there, and it's because his character is wanting to write more of an expose than a, you know, than actually do research. But he also doesn't really get terribly excited when talking about like the Beast of Blackmoor or the family scandal. You know, he got excited the one time you talked to him about it, but he doesn't want to talk about it anymore. He talks about one thing and then he doesn't say anything else about it, and it's like, if this is what you want to write the book about, don't you want to be like ready to dish? Like, girl, spill the tea. Like, come on. So I will knock him for that. I think honestly the strongest character as written is, oh, I guess we do got to talk about Jane. Jane is kind of a bundle of tropes, you know. She is supposed to be kind of like the link between, you know, England and the United States, because she spent a lot of time there, and therefore she kind of understands what Nancy's talking about when like she calls it a flashlight, which I still think is one of the stupidest exchanges in the whole game. Because it's just like beating you over the head with a stick that's like, you're not in the US. It's like, okay, we know, we don't. Okay. I don't know. Jane is one of those characters that is not terribly written, but is kind of decently written, but is also just really fucking annoying, and therefore a lot of people tend to, you know, myself included, tend to kind of yeah, Jane's fine. I think the strongest written character, honestly, is Mrs. Drake. She's got a stick up her ass. She's very much here for order, for, you know, she's got a very clear character and motivation. She wants there to be, you know, distinct order, and to, you know, make sure that all the rules are followed, whatever those rules may be. She's very like strict is the thing. She's very strict, but at the same time she does display a softer side from time to time. She does care about the people who are there. She does care about her family, and it's made very clear that she cares about her family. She misses her brother, she misses her husband. She thinks Hugh should spend more time at the manor to be with his family. She cares for Linda, even though she does it in her kind of stick up her ass way. Like, it's pretty clear that she, I don't know, she's doting. She's got actual character, which the rest of them don't really have a ton of. So characters are, I would say, middle of the ground. Like, there are some good ones, there are some bad ones, there are some kind of in-between ones. That's kind of where I put it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I forgot. I mean, talked about characters, we talked about plot, we talked about puzzles and gameplay, talked about soundtrack. Yeah, I mean, aside from the voice acting, which I've already gone on about, so I don't feel good about putting this in the S tier. The gameplay really does knock it down some. Trying to figure out where it fits. I feel like it's kind of A tier or B tier. It's either the bottom of the A tier or the top of the B tier. It's very, I enjoy it though, is the thing, and unfortunately that bumps it up just enough. So it's going to go ahead in A tier. It is going to go behind Ghost Dogs and Moon Lake, which does make it, incidentally and interestingly, not one of my favorite top rated games. It still has a special place in my heart regardless. I was obsessed with this game for such a long time. So yeah, that's where we are. There we go. Delete the old one. and go out there. Okay. That was the stream. That's it. That's all we got for today. Thank you all for joining again. This has been fun. This is good. I'm enjoying the series. I'm kind of surprised it took us this long to get through all of this game. You know, it took a little longer than I expected. So that's kind of good. Didn't have to start another thing. But let's just go through the spiel real quick. I do want to thank my subscribers for subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for the support that you give me. If you want to support the channel, hit that subscribe button and it helps out a ton. If you are an Amazon Prime member, you get 1 free subscription to any Twitch channel of your choice. I would be delighted if you chose mine. Next, I want to say thank you to my followers. Thank you so much for following me and supporting the channel in the way that you do. If you hit that follow button, you will get a notification when I go live. I usually stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Right now, I'm playing through the entire Nancy Drew series, and as far as I am concerned, we're going to keep playing them because I'm having too much fun with these, to be honest. I know I said I was going to take breaks, but we're plowing through. Secret of the Old Clock has another special place in my heart, partially because of all the fun memes that came out of it, so we are definitely going to play that next. So go ahead and hit that follow button if you want to be notified when I go live. If you want to be notified ahead of time, you can follow me on Instagram at BOSTrophyWife or on Twitter at BOSTrophyWife as well. In both places, I usually post a day of, a couple of hours before, probably around noon Eastern time. Today, obviously, I was a little late. But the best place for the most up-to-date announcements, something where I will always post, usually the same time as these two, but it will also include posts if I'm running late or posts if something has come up and I need to cancel. I will post that on my Discord. The link is written out here, but you can also join using the link there in the chat. That will give you an invite to my Discord community. It's a nice little spot. We do fun chatting, memes, we talk about games we play, games we're going to play. Ragnarok is sharing regular pictures of Bee and her adorableness, which is so cute. But it is also where I put things like polls for what games to play next when the choices do come up. As I said, right now we are playing through the Nancy Drew series, so next will be Secret of the Old Clock, regardless of anything else. But when it does come time to finish up the Nancy Drew series, or when I do decide to take a break, I do actually I'm not actually 100% sure what game to play next. We have a couple of choices, so I will be doing a poll at that point. If you want to have a say in what this channel plays next, that is the best place to do it. I do have a slightly out of date still YouTube all the way over there, YouTube archive that goes all the way back to the beginning of my channel when I started with the Nancy Drew series. So do feel free to check that out if you want to see me play those back then, see what I thought back then. Things are a bit rougher in the past. I have learned a lot about streaming since, things like lighting and sound production, things like that. And I've moved house a few times, so there's varying quality there, I do warn you. But it is fun nonetheless. Definitely check it out if you're interested to see what games this channel's played. And maybe if you're interested, you might want to stick around. We do a whole bunch of things, so. And then finally, I do have a tip jar through Ko-fi. If you are a subscriber and you'd like to throw me a couple of extra bucks, or if you can't subscribe at this time but you want to throw me a couple of extra bucks anyway, that is the best place to do so. Just click on that link and it'll be brought to my Ko-fi page. Any little bit helps a lot. Thank you all so much yet again for another fabulous installment in our series playing through Nancy Drew. This was Curse of Blackmoor Manor, and it is one that is near and dear to my heart, even if it is not at the top of my tier list. So I'm glad you could all join on this bizarre adventure with me. Keep an eye out, like I said, next Tuesday we will start The Secret of the Old Clock. This one is another one that's very near and dear to my heart for various reasons, and we're gonna have quite the time playing it. So keep an eye out for that. Until then, have a great weekend. If you can celebrate it, have a wonderful, happy Juneteenth. If you're unable to, then, you know, I understand. Not every employer does it. Not every state government recognizes the holiday. Nonetheless, I'm glad that we have the holiday. I'm glad that we can celebrate the emancipation, the true emancipation of the enslaved people of this country back when that happened, and can at least have a day to commemorate that. Slowly absolving, slowly atoning for the nation's sins. bit by bit, however we need to. Anyway, have a wonderful weekend, everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful one and a relaxing one at that. Take care, and I will see you all next week on Tuesday. Have a good night, everybody.